When it comes to using Facebook ads to promote my music on Spotify, I like to use two different types of campaigns. Now, I've talked about this a lot in the past, but to review, one campaign is a growth campaign. That's an ongoing campaign where I spend like $10 a day in perpetuity forever just to grow followers and always be getting more streams. And the second type is a release campaign. And this is a campaign that I run for a higher dollar amount for a shorter period of time, starting on the day that I drop a new song. Now, a couple weeks ago, we dug into what my growth campaign looks like. So today, we're going to pick apart my release campaign. Now, if you haven't already, I definitely recommend after this video, you go check out my previous video where I broke down all the ins and outs of my Spotify growth campaign. And you can check that out right here. Today, we are going to dig into my release campaign. Now, as I said before, this is a campaign that I like to drop the day my song releases to Spotify. I run it for a shorter period of time, anywhere from 3 days to 10 days maximum. And I'll run it for a higher dollar amount. With my growth campaign, I'm spending about $10 a day. With a release campaign, I started off at a budget of $50 a day. And then if I run it for longer than 3 days, I will taper it down over time. Let's dive into Facebook ads and we'll start digging into this thing at the campaign level. Now, for the purposes of this video, we are going to look at my release campaign for my song Lions. This is a song I dropped back in January. Now, this particular campaign did great for me right out of the gate, and so this is the one that I want to focus on for today to show you guys exactly how I set it up. We're going to look at the campaign level, the ad set level, and the ad level. So starting here at the campaign level, I'll go to edit and we can see how this is set up. You can see here that I've got the campaign name, TD3 Lions, Spotify release, auction. I'm optimizing for conversions. I set a campaign spending limit on this because I knew I wanted to only spend $150 total and I wanted to spend $50 a day. So in the event that it overspent, I wanted to cap that. It didn't end up happening, obviously by 2 cents, but I did set it. I have campaign budget optimization on, as I always do. I keep that on for all my campaigns because I feel like that's the way to really take advantage of Facebook's AI so that it can learn and then kind of work for you. And then lastly, I've got my campaign budget. So for here, my campaign budget was $50 a day for this campaign. And I ran it for 3 full days out of the gate on the day of release, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then set it to turn off at midnight from Sunday to Monday. Closing out of this, we'll take a look at the ad set level. Now here at the ad set level, I've got 3 different ad sets in this release campaign. One ad set that is a lookalike audience that is targeting just the US and Canada. Then I've got what I'm calling the artist target ad set, and that is targeting actual bands and artists and things and then narrowing for Spotify. And then lastly, I've got another lookalike audience, and this is all Spotify territories. Now, I've since sort of updated the way I'm doing things, and you'll get a better sense of that when you check out the growth campaign video if you haven't watched it yet. But at the time, this is how I had things set up, and it worked really well. So looking at results here, you can see that for the website views content, the results were pretty skewed in favor of my lookalike audience, which isn't surprising. And specifically, they were in favor of the lookalike audience that was targeting all Spotify territories. Again, not surprising. So the lookalike for the US and Canada got 2 views content. Targeting the artists got 177. And then the lookalike got almost 800. So definitely better performing there. So let's just start with the lookalike audience here. We'll open it up and let you take a peek under the hood. So starting here, I've got my pixel, view content, scrolling down, set the start date to automatically be midnight on the Friday of release, end date automatically at midnight at the end of the day on Sunday right before Monday. Now I've got this little thing here to remove locations from my lookalikes because I haven't updated this ad set with Facebook's updated iOS 14 things because that wasn't an issue at the time. So some things are a little out of date here, but for all intents and purposes, using one lookalike audience here. And then I've got all of the Spotify territories here. I narrowed for my age demographic, all genders. The only thing I narrowed for in detailed targeting is Spotify. I kept off detailed targeting expansion, and I also did not turn on lookalike expansion at all. Only stories placements for this, which is what I do for everything. And then coming all the way down here, let me mute this. You can see the ad that I used is the same sort of graphic, swipe up, bouncing, some visual movement. The cover art is moving in the background, and then we have the cover art up front. so that it kind of creates a cohesive experience from ad to landing page to actual thumbnail of the song on Spotify. My ads all look the same. It's just different sections of the song. So I've got them labeled here. Got a section from the end of the song, the drop, the break, and then the verse. So if we come back out, now we will look at the artist target. So the artist target is set up almost exactly the same. Same pixels, same view content, same start and end date, same location targeting, all Spotify territories. The only thing I did differently here is now, instead of using a lookalike, I'm targeting some different bands and things that I thought fit well with the track. Because this was a heavier track, I went with some heavier bands. So I've got Breaking Benjamin, Bring Me the Horizon, Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Skrillex, and then interestingly, IGN. I went into the audience insights tab and looked up these audiences for these bands to see kind of what the overlap was, which is how I found a couple of the bands on the list, but also it's how I found IGN. I figured that a lot of these people were gamers, and lo and behold, it seems to have worked out well. So a good thing to take from this is always think outside of the box when it comes to your targeting. It doesn't just have to be music. Like, odds are, if you're a musician, you're not just into music, you're into other stuff. If you enjoy music, you're not just listening to music 24/7. There's other stuff that you like maybe like sneakers, maybe you like to paint. Think about those things. Think about what your audience might be into, and don't be afraid to test that targeting outside of the box, because like in this case, it might turn out to be a really good thing. So again, I narrowed for Spotify here, and then scrolling down, everything else is exactly the same as it was with the other ad set. And then lastly, on the US and Canada ad set, if we go to that one here, everything is exactly the same as the lookalike audience, the lookalike ad set. Start, end date, optimizing for the same things. The only thing I changed was the location to just be the United States and Canada. And I turned on detailed targeting expansion. And I also turned on, it's not here because I've since changed the lookalike audience. I had a lookalike audience in here, the exact same one, and I had on lookalike audience expansion. So I tested both of those things because the population I was targeting was more narrow because it was only in 2 countries rather than global. And it actually ended up working out pretty well for me. On this ad set, it didn't get as much budget put towards it because it cost more for impressions, but the cost per click was the lowest, the cost per landing page view, and the cost per view content was the lowest of all of them. And the click-through rate was the highest. The only problem is the cost per impressions was way more than it was for the other two, which is why the other two got the lion's share of the budget. So if we go to, lastly, the ads here. Now, I already showed you what the ads look like, so you know what that looks like. But here's how I set things up. The reason I started with 4 ads is to test the creative against one another. I isolated for just the section of the song by using the same exact visual content, but then isolating out the musical content. So I split tested 4 different sections of the song and let Facebook identify and put budget into the one that worked the best. And in this case, it was the ad for the Lions verse. Actually, the drop did better in this ad set, got more content views, but the verse was the cheapest. So it was the combination of the cheapest cost per conversion and the highest number of conversions. And this is the ad that I still have running. If you have watched the growth video, this Lions ad is the ad that I still have running in my ongoing growth campaign because it has continued to perform incredibly well throughout this entire time. So for several months now, this ad has done great. It's still working at like 11 cents per conversion, and I'm getting 20-ish new followers every day off of it. So what I did is I ran this release campaign for 3 days, and then I converted it over, pulled the ad from it and added it to my growth campaign, and then kept it going from there. Because once I had seen that it performed well, I knew it performed well again at a lower budget. So next time you drop a song, I hope this helps. As I said earlier in the video, I am working on some kind of new strategies now. This next song that I'm dropping in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to target artists, or at least I'm not planning on targeting artists. I'm going to plan to do a lookalike plus retarget, all Spotify territories, a lookalike plus retarget of some countries that are narrowed in based on my Spotify for Artists data, and then a lookalike plus retarget audience that is focused on just some cities based on my Spotify for Artists results. I'm going to split test those 3 ad sets, each of which will have 3 to 6 ads in them, and then we'll see which one is the winner. So that's it for this one. If you don't subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And at the end here, I've got a couple things you can check out. At the top is my growth campaign video, and at the bottom is a video on how I structure these 2 campaigns and how they work together. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.